On Saturday, August 8th, Supreme Master Ching Hai accepted the invitation to an interview by journalist 찰스노튼 for an article that appeared in the House magazine on September 18th, 2009. The House magazine is a prestigious and impartial political publication that is most read weekly by members of parliaments of both houses and within the Palace of Westminster in the United Kingdom. The interview with Supreme Master Ching Hai, which took place via video conference, covered a broad range of topics from the current critical state of global warming, the harmful impacts of methane, organic farming, to the melting of the Arctic permafrosts, to the detrimental planetary impact of raising livestock for human consumption. It also delved into the immense benefits of the organic vegan solution to immediately curb global warming. We now present the interview with Supreme Master Ching Hai by journalist 찰스노튼 for the House magazine.
Hi, handsome.
Hello.
Hello. You sound like Australian, are you?
No, I'm English.
Okay. How are you?
Very well.
Ah, you are a very famous journalist, huh? I read about you. Mr. Norton, huh?
Yes. Charlie, please.
Just Charlie?
Just Charlie, yeah.
Charlie sounds very much like Australia. Where you from, Charlie?
No, I grew up very near London, in Kent, a county very near London.
You travel a lot?
I do a lot for work, yes.
Yes, and then sometimes you pick up accent somewhere, you know?
Yeah, I lived in New Zealand for a year when I was younger. Yeah, you did pick it, I think, yeah.
I detected something. Okay. Tell me about you a little bit.
I have a serious girlfriend, but I'm not married.
How's your girlfriend doing?
Yeah, she's very well. She's in London this weekend, so yeah.
Your relationship okay?
Very good, yeah, very good.
Important, very important.
Yeah.
And she's also a journalist, by the way?
No, she's a farmer.
Farmer, wow.
She's a farmer, yeah.
That's good for you.
Yeah. She grows her own vegetables.
Wow, that's good for you. Then you're always safe. I read somewhere that farmers are the most happily married, and then doctors, and then business people. There was a tough or good relationship, and farmers are the number one.
Yeah, well.
Best of luck to you and your girlfriend.
Thank you.
It's very important to have good relationship. Okay, we start business.
Yeah. Your channel, Supreme Master Television, has interviewed and featured many of the world's leading climate scientists, including Dr. James Hansen, director of NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies, and Dr. Rajendra Pachauri, chairman of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. What are their messages on the urgency of climate change?
In Supreme Master TV interviews, as well as through other media, the esteemed doctors Hansen and Pachauri have affirmed that humans need to act now if we are to mitigate climate change and ensure our continued existence on this planet. According to Dr. Hansen, our planet is on a dangerous course to pass an irreversible tipping point with disastrous consequences. These, already like melting of the Arctic sea ice, which causes oceans to absorb more sunlight and speeds up melting. And the melting of permafrost, which in turn releases toxic methane gas, resulting in more warming of the atmosphere. And the extinction of cornerstone species that cause further collapse to our already ailing ecosystems, thus endangering even more species and, most important of all, us, humans. Dr. Hansen has explained the threat of increased carbon emissions, the so-called safe level of atmospheric carbon dioxide is 350 parts per million. This level is supposed to help our planet avoid the effects of runaway global warming. Like further melting or reaching the point of no return. Yeah. But our atmosphere is already over that safe mark. Now we are at 385 ppm. That's 385 parts per million. Dr. Pachauri, a vegetarian himself, has long acknowledged the connection between livestock raising and our globe's dangerous warming effect. In 2008, he revealed that UN estimates are, in fact, much lower than what scientists now discover to be meat production's harmful terror in the heating up of our planet. 64% of dangerous ammonia emissions, which cause acid rain, are from livestock. Land and water is already overpolluted by livestock as well. That is from animal waste, you see, silage and toxic chemical fertilizers. But these two great scientists not only point out our grave planetary situation, they do offer a simple, efficient and economical solution, the vegetarian lifestyle. I cannot emphasize enough. Both acknowledge that the adoption of a plant-based diet is the single most effective action that an individual can do to drastically reduce greenhouse gas emission. In fact, Dr. Pachauri is a strong supporter of Sir Paul McCartney's campaign, Meat Free Monday, and he even joined him in writing a letter to the independent newspaper, urging people to become vegetarian to save the planet from the livestock industry's toxic emissions. Please let us heed the warnings and advice of these two respected, wise scientists as we continue our shared commitment to the Earth's welfare. Thank you.
So climate change is happening at such a fast pace that scientists are increasingly talking about the need to focus on reducing methane. How can reducing methane be effective in altering the course of climate change?
Yes, to date, most of the effort by the media, governments, and numerous action groups to halt global warming have focused on reducing CO2. But scientists now told us that CO2 remains in the atmosphere for tens of thousands of years. Thus, even if we were to eliminate them to zero, now the CO2 that is already in the atmosphere would continue to hit the planet. The reason scientists are now turning their attention to methane is that research has shown this gas has a heating capacity 100 times greater than CO2 within the first 5 years. Methane then quickly dissipates out of the atmosphere, with 2/3 gone in about 8 years. Earlier climate models didn't take into account this initial high potency effect of methane and averaged it out to be only 23 times hotter than CO2 over a 100-year period. This is not correct. So in order to effectively reduce methane, we need to examine its source. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization states that livestock is the single largest human-caused source of methane and account for 37% of total greenhouse gases. As temperatures continue to increase, methane is released from melting Arctic permafrost as well. This amplified feedback accelerates further global warming. In Siberia, where the world's largest frozen peat bog is located, the permafrost thawed for the first time in 2005 since its formation, about 11,000 years ago, to the point where shallow lakes even formed. Scientists observing the Swedish permafrost are also seeing a considerable increase in the release of methane. Thus, if meat eating were to be halted, methane production from livestock would be minimized. And then, consequently, the methane from permafrost will also be stopped. See? then we will still have time to handle the CO2. See, it's very logical, scientifically speaking and otherwise. So being veg means saving our planet.
In addressing the world's present credit crunch situation, you've stated that adopting a plant-based diet is the most cost-effective way to address global warming. Can you explain why this is so?
Yes, sir. For many reasons. In fact, it is not only I who says this is so. Scientific studies have concluded the same. One that was conducted in the Netherlands called Climate Benefits of Changing Diet found that a vegan diet which excludes animal products entirely would reduce government costs of stabilizing the Earth's atmosphere by 80% compared to a meat diet. I mean, global governments, yes? Even without talking about the vegan savings, it is much less expensive to address global warming than to ignore it. A study conducted in Japan also found that if no action was taken to halt climate change, the financial cost will be $176 billion per year by the end of the century. This is because of the effect of food supplies, the cost of dealing with increased natural disasters, as well as other weather extremes like heat waves and medical issues such as a rise in contagious disease, etc., etc. Getting back to the vegan lifestyle, study after study has proven not only its health benefits, but cost advantages as well. For example, researchers in Germany compare emission saving according to diet, measuring them in kilometers, driven by an average mid-sized car, mid-sized European car. So if a meat-based diet is equivalent to driving a mid-sized European car 5,000 kilometers each year, then the animal-free organic vegan diet represented just 281 kilometers, or an incredible 94% less emissions. You see. And another famous person, Marianne Thieme, co-founder of the Party of Animals in the Netherlands. You probably know her. She has outlined clearly the environmental gains of reducing meat in the diet, noting that, for example, if all Britons refrain from meat for 7 days a week, that would be equivalent to turning half of the country's 25 million households into zero emissions home. If everyone in the UK goes meatless for 6 days a week, it would be the same as the country's 29 million cars being removed totally from the roads. And the British people, if they are vegetarian for 5 days a week, that would be equivalent to shutting off all the electricity in every UK household. So you see, it is tremendous, huh? Another savings from the organic vegan diet is found in the soil.
Yeah.
Not only would the huge amounts of methane emissions be eliminated, the organically tilled soil could absorb like up to 40% of carbon emissions. You see, the one that we have already in the atmosphere. Organic farming has also been found to be more profitable than conventional farming even. And at the consumer level, the vegan diet is by far the most affordable, with much lower cost than buying meat, or fish for that reason. It's very easy to see how the vegan diet is not only the quickest but the most cost-effective way to halt climate change, reduce great amounts of CO2, and save money for buyers in this dire planetary food shortage, water shortage situation. We should take the most effective action, that is the vegan diet. Thank you for being so good listener.
Not at all. The NHS promotes meat-free menus to cut emissions and improve health. However, there's still those who are unsure of the health benefits of the vegetarian diet. For instance, parents of school children. What do you suggest the government do to dispel the myths and help its institutions, as well as private employers and schools, towards promoting a healthier diet and providing more vegetarian meals?
First of all, your country's National Health Service is setting a wonderful example and has my admiration and salute. On the subject of medical services, we could first talk about hospitalizations. A study conducted in the United Kingdom found that lifelong vegetarians not only have fewer visits to the nation's hospitals, each person who is veg saves the National Health Service and taxpayers close to $80,000 individually, yeah? Yes. So this, of course, can quickly add up to savings of billions if you count the citizens' number. Yes. Moreover, we are now aware of a vast number of diseases that originate only in animal products. Some of these, like you already know, mad cow disease, are always fatal, always deadly. Can't even save people. Others, which can also have serious consequences, arise from bacterial infections such as E. coli, Salmonella, and Listeria, etc., etc. In addition, the risk of almost every cancer imaginable is caused or increased by meat eating, like colon cancer, stomach cancer, pancreatic cancer, breast cancer, all are not only significantly higher, many have been 100% linked to meat consumption. These are widely documented in scientific journals worldwide, so it would seem clear that there is not so much these days to attract a healthy person to animal products at all. However, for those who are not aware of meat's damaging effect, we can start by discussing the benefits of a meat-free diet, a plant-based diet. These include general vitality and longevity, with relative freedom from disease. In fact, in a statement just updated in July 2009, the American Dietetic Association states that it is the position of the American Dietetic Association that appropriately planned a vegetarian diet, including total vegetarian or vegan diets, are healthful, nutritionally adequate, and may provide health benefits in the prevention and treatment of certain diseases. Along with general health, even such aspects as physical strength can benefit, which young people find important. Many top-class athletes, such as American track legend Carl Lewis, who won 10 Olympic medals, and 10 World Championship medals, are completely vegan.
I didn't know he was.
Amazing, eh? Yes. In fact, Mr. Lewis says that his best year of track competition was the first year he switched to a vegan diet. And then there is intelligence. A study of IQ found that vegetarian children were more likely to have higher IQs at age 30 than their meat-eating counterpart. So we see, there is really nothing but bad news for meat eating and only good news for being veg. At this crucial time on the planet, being veg, I think it's a must to help cool the earth in time for our survival. So we try to let as many people as possible to know all of these facts so they can change quickly. And we hope you can help spread the message as well. And of course, the government, can do so very effectively through online information with published statements that affirm the healthful qualities of vegetarian diet as well as the corresponding harms of meat consumption. Otherwise, we could also doing things like distributing information for the nation's schools, so teachers, students, and even parents can be made aware of the many benefits of a vegetarian lifestyle. The best should be to reduce meat or eliminate animal industries altogether, totally. What do you say, Charlie?
Yeah, I guess a very valid point.
Vegetarianism in religion.
The Baha'i Faith. Regarding the eating of animal flesh and abstinence therefrom, know thou of a certainty that, in the beginning of creation, God determined the food of every living being, and to eat contrary to that determination is not approved. Selections from the Baha'i writings of some aspects of health and healing.
Buddhism. All meats eaten by living beings are of their own relatives. Lankavatara Sutra. Also, after the birth of the baby, care must be exercised not to kill any animal in order to feed the mother with meaty delicacies, and not to assemble many relatives to drink liquor or to eat meat, because at the difficult time of birth there are innumerable evil demons, monsters, and goblins who want to consume the smelly blood. By ignorantly and adversely resorting to the killing of animals for consumption, they bring down curses upon themselves, which are detrimental to both the mother and the baby. Kshitigarbha Sutra. Be careful during the days immediately after someone's death, not killing or destroying, or creating evil karma by worshipping or offering sacrifice to demons and deities, because such killing and slaughtering committed, or such worship performed, or such sacrifice offered, would not have even an iota of force to benefit the dead, but would entwine even more sinful karma into previous karma, making it even deeper and more serious. Thus, delay his rebirth to a good state. Karma means retribution. Kshitigarbha Sutra.
Cao Dai. The most important thing is to stop killing, because animals also have souls and understand like humans. If we kill and eat them, then we owe them a blood debt. Teachings of the Saints.
Christianity. Meats for the belly, and the belly for meats, but God shall destroy both it and them. Holy Bible.
And while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, the wrath of the Lord was kindled against the people, and the Lord smote the people with a very great plague. Holy Bible.
Confucianism. All men have a mind which cannot bear to see the sufferings of others. The superior man, having seen the animals alive, cannot bear to see them die. Having heard their dying cries, he cannot bear to eat their flesh. Mencius. Essenes.
I am come to end the sacrifices and feasts of blood, and if ye cease not offering and eating of flesh and blood, the wrath of God shall not cease from you. Gospel of the Holy 12.
Hinduism. Since you cannot bring killed animals back to life, you are responsible for killing them. Therefore, you are going to hell. There is no way for your deliverance. Adalila.
He who desires to augment his own flesh by eating the flesh of other creatures lives in misery in whatever species he may take his birth. Mahabharata anew.
Islam. Allah will not give mercy to anyone except those who give mercy to other creatures. Hadith.
Do not allow your stomachs to become graveyards of animals. Hadith.
Jainism. A true monk should not accept such food and drink as has been specially prepared for him involving the slaughter of living beings. Sutrakatanga.
Judaism. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people. Holy Bible. Blood meaning flesh.
Sikhism. Those mortals who consume marijuana, flesh, and wine, no matter what pilgrimages, fasts, and rituals they follow, they will all go to hell. Guru Granth Sahib.
Taoism. Do not go into the mountain to catch birds and nets, nor to the water to poison fishes and minnows. Do not butcher the ox that plows your field. Tract of the Quiet Way.
Tibetan Buddhism. The offering to the deities of meat obtained by killing animate beings is like offering a mother the flesh of her own child, and this is a grievous failure, the supreme path of discipleship.
Zoroastrianism. Those plants I, Ahura Mazda, or God, rain down upon the earth to bring food to the faithful and fodder to the beneficent cow. Avesta.
Everybody knows that vegetarian diet is good for health and to save the planet. There will be awakening their own great, compassionate, loving self-nature, and then their level of consciousness will rise up automatically, and they will understand more than they ever did, and they'll be closer to heaven than what they are right now.
How can leaders ensure that the agreement coming out of Copenhagen is strong enough to avoid the point of no return, catastrophic climate collapse?
Yeah. Good question. Yes. The only way to avoid the point of no return, climate catastrophe, is to take action on the most climatically disastrous course of all, that is, meat production. By now, we have all the evidence, all the information to safely say so. The livestock industry is the top greenhouse gas generator. The last published findings from the United Nations in 2006 told us that the livestock industry causes greenhouse gas emissions more than all the world's transportation sectors combined. Airplane, train, cars, motorcycles, etc. altogether. Updated calculations tell us that the livestock industry is responsible for at least 50% of the global warming. There are 3 reasons why the livestock industry is the first cause of global warming that we should focus on. First, livestock is the primary human-caused emitter of methane. And methane not only has 72 times the heat-trapping ability, it is a shorter-lived gas. This means that it will leave the atmosphere much faster than CO2, within just a decade, as opposed to thousands of years you need for CO2. Therefore, eliminating methane by eliminating livestock breeding is the fastest way to cool the planet. Is it logical to you?
Mm-hmm.
Charlie?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we have to tackle the most important of emitter. Next, the pollutant known as aerosols, you already know, or particles released along with CO2 from burning fossil fuels actually have a cooling effect. Some scientists say it is roughly cancelling out the warming effect of CO2. Therefore, much of the warming we are seeing may actually be due to methane. In fact, it is due to methane, and its number one source, that is animal raising. Third, NASA scientists are paying increasing attention to another very serious source of global warming, that is black carbon. I'm sure you know that. Mm-hmm. This is the particulate matter known as soot, SOOT, and it is 680 times more heat-trapping than CO2. So black carbon is landing on the ice in Antarctica, absorbing the sun's heat and accelerating the ice melt. The majority of the black carbon particles in Antarctica are coming from where? South American rainforests that are burned for the livestock industry. Now, we're going somewhere. We must urgently address methane and black carbon, both outcomes of the meat industry. Immediately we have to tackle it. I pray all wise leaders will halt the little meat practice, which is the main force driving us to the point of no return right now. Otherwise, all other efforts to decarbonize our economies may be cancelled out or never have a chance to materialize in the first place.
Some of the diseases related to meat consumption and/or production: Q fever, norovirus, swine flu, Ebola reston virus. Cured meats and fish increase leukemia risk in children. Antibiotic-resistant superbug infections from a strain of Staphylococcus aureus. Blue tongue disease, E. coli, Salmonella. bird flu, mad cow disease or Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, 90% of the population at risk, pig's disease or PMWS, listeriosis, shellfish poisoning, preeclampsia, Campylobacter, Clostridium difficile, diseases hidden in healthy-appearing livestock, some of the costs of meat eating. Infertility. Eating just one serving of meat per day increases the risk of women's infertility by 32%, with additional meat consumption increasing the risk. Heart disease. Over 17 million lives lost globally each year. Cost of cardiovascular disease is at least $1 trillion a year. Cancer. Colon rectal cancer. Over 1 million new colon cancer patients diagnosed each year. More than 600,000 colon cancer-related mortalities annually. In the United States alone, colon cancer treatment costs about $6.5 billion. Millions of people are newly diagnosed with other meat-related cancers every year. Diabetes. 246 million people are affected worldwide. An estimated $174 billion spent each year on treatment in just the United States. Obesity. Worldwide, 1.6 billion adults are overweight, with 400 million more who are obese. Costs $93 billion each year for medical expenses in the United States alone. At least 2.6 million people die annually from problems related to being overweight or obese. Environmental. Uses up to 70% of clean water. Pollutes most of the water bodies. Deforests the lungs of the earth. Uses up to 43% of the world's cereal. Uses up to 85% of the world's soy. Causes world hunger and wars. 80% cause of global warming. Plus more.
Some of the costs of milk consumption. Cowpox from milking cows. Bacterial microbes, pesticides and enzymes found in cheese derived from the inner stomach linings of other animals. Up to 80% of the calories in cheese are from pure fat. Breast, prostate and testicular cancer from hormones present in milk. Hysteria and Crohn's disease. Hormones and saturated fat leads to osteoporosis, obesity, diabetes and heart disease. Linked to higher incidences of multiple sclerosis. Classified as a major allergen. Lactose intolerance. Plus more.
For more urgent information, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/killers.
What effect does meat consumption have on biodiversity?
Charlie, meat consumption has a huge destructive impact on biodiversity, which is essential for our Earth to function and thus must be preserved. No matter how small, each species has a role to help balance our ecosystem, scientifically proven. And yet, consumption of both fish and animal flesh continue and are wreaking havoc on biodiversity around the globe. In the oceans and fresh waterways, so many species of fish have already been lost, with complete aquatic environments such as coral reefs being decimated by such practices as trawling and fishing with explosives. On land, meat consumption is responsible for vast regions being cleared for grazing crops, such as soy, that are fed to livestock. One example is seen in the deforested Amazon areas that have gone from lush forests to bare fields used for cattle grazing or primarily animal feed crops. With these activities essentially robbing our biodiversity, there has been an alarming rise in the disappearance of plants and animals. 2005 Millennium Ecosystem Assessment Report noted that some 30% of the mammal, bird, and amphibian species currently are threatened with extinction. or due to human actions. And one of the most comprehensive studies ever conducted in the field is now forecasting that over 1 million species will be lost in the coming 50 years. Isn't that a sad affair? Besides the land being clear for livestock raising, the livestock itself causes further biodiversity loss due to potent greenhouse gas emissions, which accelerate global warming. Many studies have documented a decline in populations of penguins, polar bears, plants, trees, migratory birds, and many others, all linked to rising temperatures on the planet. Even desert animals have been affected, like the Malian elephant, that have been perishing in high numbers because their trunks can no longer reach the sinking groundwater. The answer to all this, is quite clear. Stop the meat consumption. Stop it yesterday. This will eliminate the so-called need for livestock raising, which will immediately return immense amounts of land to natural sustainability or to natural growing methods that allow biodiversity to be replenished. This is the way we need to go, and fast. Thank you, Charlie, for being such a good
Not at all, not at all. It's fascinating.
Is it? Yeah? I'm sure you know all this. You just asked for the sake of your readers.
Not at all. With the Departments of Food, Environment and Rural Affairs Marine and Coastal Access Bill being considered, members of Parliament from the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs Committee have said that the government needs to review its unsustainable promotion of fish eating. With the seabeds around Britain having recently been shown to resemble a barren wasteland as a result of trawling, what can be done to help the seas recover?
What can be done? Your wise Parliament members have said it. Fish eating is indeed very unsustainable. It must stop. If we do end the killing of fish in the spirit of showing respect for all created life, the fish will rebound very quickly. But the continuation of fishing activities could damage the balance of marine life beyond its ability to recover. In fact, scientists reported in 2003 that 90% of the world's large fishes had already disappeared. 90%. That was 6 years ago, Charlie. Now, I don't know how many more species of fish have disappeared. More recently, as you are aware, analysis by British researchers of hundreds of years of fishing records has revealed to us the devastating effects of trawling to both the marine environment and sea life. One scientist compared this method to harvesting apples by lowering a giant net and dragging it through the orchard, thus destroying the tree, destroying the very life that supports the fruit. Besides, trawling's effect of killing off more and more marine life, the UN Food and Agriculture Organization estimates that 640,000 tons of thrown away fishing gear, such as discarded nets, are added to the ocean every year, thus intensifying the problem. Fish, turtles, marine life are caught in these nets, accidentally, even dying every year, every day, without even trawling yet. Perhaps, astonishingly, even the fishing industry goes back to livestock. Believe that or not. In fact, a US study revealed that pigs and chickens are forced to consume more than twice the seafood that's eaten by all the Japanese people, and 6 times the amount consumed by humans in the United States. Just pigs and chickens eat more than us. 6 times more, at least. And then the pigs and chickens are eaten themselves, yeah, by us, humans. So, it's not a good business, is it? It's not a very good business strategy. So for anyone who thinks that eating fish does not cause as much environmental damage, please think again. Or please, we inform them of the facts. Consuming any animal products at all negatively impacts our oceans and our world. We can of course support and uphold the terms of such measures as the Marine and Coastal Bill, which offers greater protection for fish and all marine life. I applaud that. Meanwhile, please also request the media's help in spreading info about the detriments of trawling and the dire state of fish populations today. Another extremely effective practice would be to stop eating fish and advocate the same for all citizens. Again, the government could offer subsidies to the fishermen for organic farming instead as the alternative livelihoods. So much money that have been saved could give them subsidies, no problem at all. Complete fishing bans could then be put into place, making the United Kingdom an exemplary leader for the world's vital oceans and their unique life. Grazie.
The Environment, Food and Rural Affairs Committee also recommended that the UK grow more food crops to alleviate global hunger. What actions can Parliament take to help feed the world?
Yes, it is indeed a noble endeavour to grow food with the goal of alleviating hunger for others. To do so most effectively, the first thing is to eliminate meat consumption, free the land, and all the harvests go directly to humans. Simon Fairley, editor of The Land magazine, estimated that if Britons were to adopt a vegan diet, Britain could feed itself on 3 million hectares, half the land now under cultivation. We use only half of the land and we can feed the whole population if we go organic vegan. The other half could, of course, be devoted to such meaningful causes as growing food for those in need or reforesting to cool the rising temperature. Currently, 80% of hungry children live in countries that export food crops, typically to feed farmed animals in the developed world. Moreover, 2/3 of U.S. grain exports feed livestock rather than people. These two facts alone make it easy to see how elimination of livestock raising would allow more people to be fed. One scientist has calculated that a vegan needs only 5% of the land necessary to produce food compared to meat eaters. 5% only. And the meat eater need 95%. Imagine that, Charlie? So the elimination of meat and livestock raising would thus improve the environment for everyone. It's a wonderful way to go. The best, in fact, for helping both yourself and other people in the world. By all means, be veg, as the first and foremost way to stop global hunger and global warming.
Yes. What are the benefits of organic vegan farming, and in what ways can MPs and the government push forward to boost this sector?
Yes, there are so many benefits from organic vegan farming, as well as many benefiting parties. First, for the farmers like your girlfriend, organic vegan farming is productive, saving 37% more energy and even more water than conventional farming methods. Next, there are environmental benefits, like the topsoil stays and proves better at withstanding floods and hurricanes. Wildlife and ecosystems also win. According to the largest study done on organic farming in the UK, your country, compared to conventional farms, Organic farms contained 85% more plant species, with 71% taller and thicker hedges, and a healthy return of native animals across the species. Furthermore, organic vegan farming will halt the runoff of chemical fertilizers that have created monstrous dead zones in the ocean. Organic soy matter also absorbs CO2 so effectively that the Rhode Island Institute calls organic vegan farming a powerful strategy to reduce global warming by up to 40% of all CO2 emissions now in the atmosphere. Imagine, then we will be clear of CO2. Otherwise, it will stay here for thousands of years and continue to heat our planet. Finally, see, we all benefit from better health because it's free of toxins and abundant in nutrients without the genetic modification and cancer-causing pesticides. In contrast to animal products, which are known to cause cancer, heart disease, diabetes and obesity, etc., organically farmed fruits and vegetables contain abundant nutrients that help us to avoid all these modern conditions. Surely organic vegan food is the only food we should feel safe and would feel safe and will feel safe. In fact, we will feel the safest food to give to our children, the best food to give to our children. The MPs and the government can support this organic vegan farming through subsidies. They can also redirect the funds away from the meat industries and instead toward encouraging citizens to plant, to buy, and to choose organic vegan food. And when they do, we will soon have a lot of healthy, happy, productive people, a restored green environment, and minimum climate mitigation costs, something our governments can look forward to and gain the enthusiastic support of our citizens.
European Parliament supports reducing meat to lower greenhouse gases.
Reduce your meat consumption or stop eating meat totally.
During discussions on greenhouse gas reduction goals, the Climate Committee of the European Parliament officially recognized livestock's contribution to global warming and recommended a reduction of subsidies to the livestock industry to curb methane.
The European Parliament has adopted its own position on climate change as an institution. And as a Vice President, one of the proposals I have made is in line with your own, which is that we should eat far less meat, because that's one of the major sources of greenhouse gases.
Please eat less meat, and let's make taxes on meat. That's definitely one of the issues we're talking about. I'd like to tell people what the cost is of eating meat for the environment worldwide.
My name is Jens Holm. I'm a member of the European Parliament. Please, be veg, go green, save the planet.
Moving on to a different subject, over 100,000 people are now affected by swine flu in the UK. What caused this pandemic? What are the costs? And what do you think can be done to stop future pandemics?
Yes, it's a very sad thing and very dangerous for us right now. Everybody travels everywhere. They feel so unsafe. Many schools are closed. Children getting sick and don't recover, etc., etc. Every day is kind of a time bomb for everyone on the street and in the house. Animals as well. First of all, I feel very pained and sorry for the people in the UK and all over the world who are suffering directly and indirectly because of this. But what is most saddening is that the swine flu could have been avoided if we let a better lifestyle, I mean, a more proper lifestyle, specifically a vegan lifestyle. The reason is that the swine flu pandemic was caused by the meat industry. Everyone knows it by now. You watch all the TV, you read all the newspapers, it's all there. All the information about meat industry that caused the swine flu pandemic, or even the bird flu before. So much that the Physicians Committee of Responsible Medicine in the US called on leaders to shut down the flu farms. They call it flu farms. You know, animals farm, they call it flu farms. Citing that 1 in 3 pigs harbors flu viruses. 1 in 3, and we never know which one. Analysis of Canadian agencies' data show a 99% correlation between the number of pig factory farms and the total number of human swine flu cases per province. That means probably wherever the pig farms are more in abundant, then the more people were sick there, or started a bigger group there. This never-before-seen swine flu virus was born when strains from humans, birds, pigs mixed together in the infected pigs and mutated into more lethal forms. This event has been brewing for many years by the very conditions the pigs were living. Incredibly filthy, inhumane conditions of factory farms, which anybody would shed tears if they truly witnessed it firsthand, and which are human-made perfect breeding grounds for new contagious fatal diseases. The experts on epidemics look at the animal farms and say that a really bad pandemic is not a question of if it's going to happen, but when. Well, it's already happened. What are the causes of this pandemic, you ask? Apart from billions of dollars spent for testing, treating, developing vaccines, which we find are never foolproof anyway, the ultimate cause of the swine flu is the immeasurable loss of human lives, including the children. Let us not forget as well that we are living each day with the risk of the next new and deadlier virus spawned on an animal farm, any animal farm. So to stop future pandemics, we should ask ourselves, is our appetite for meat worth the price of a pandemic? The answer is too clear, right? All too clear. No, 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 no.
A recent EU government survey showed 58% of UK adults worry about climate change, with 90% taking steps to cut emissions. What kind of successes and indications do you see that governments and society are embracing a vegan or vegetarian diet?
Yes, thank you for this encouraging statistic and good news. Activities on climate change, and in particular awareness on the impact of diet on climate change, have indeed surged in recent times. For example, at the government level, the European Union this year acknowledged that meat consumption has a negative effect on climate change. Taiwan's President Ma Ying-jeou and the entire presidential office signed a declaration of measures to reduce CO2, which includes eating locally and partaking of more vegetables and less meat. One of Belgium's largest cities, Ghent, officially declared every Thursday a Veggie Day. And starting this school year, all city schools will have vegetarian meals every Thursday. Oh, it's a small step for me. I feel it's small and slow, but it is a step. Government leaders are outspoken about the benefit of vegetarianism. For example, just this summer, vegan U.S. Congressman Dennis Kucinich endorsed the first ever Vegan Earth Day in California for vegetarians and none alike. Earlier in April, Senator Jamie Raskin of Maryland, USA, who had been a lifelong meat eater, initiated a vegetarian week to help the environment. Himself, he has stayed vegetarian ever since, and will be speaking at a National Veg Fest in September. Good news, huh? In the media, it is now common to see stories or articles everywhere talking about meat and its impact on global warming, or vegetarianism and its benefit to curb rising heat, like in The Guardian, Die Spiegel in Germany, the New York Times and Time in the US, Metro and Le Figaro in France, etc., etc. There are also some films like Home, A Delicate Balance, Meet the Truth. Meet is M-E-A-T, Meet the Truth. That raise awareness about these issues. The media has lively discussions about the veg lifestyle, its benefits, tips, recipes, etc., is also something to be noted. So, ask anyone, and many will be familiar with what a low-carbon diet is, or that reducing our meat intake is better than buying a Prius. In society, people are asking for more plant-based diet, such as in schools. Yes, the increased number of vegan meat alternative brands also reflect a growing interest in healthier, eco-friendlier products. And the reduced meat sale globally is also a good indication of a trend to come, that people more inclined to be vegetarian. Yes. I'm very happy, even though the news is not as big as I want. The change is not as quick as I would like, or many people would like, but nevertheless we are changing. Yes. Queen Elizabeth and Prime Minister Brown and U.S. First Lady Michelle Obama led by example, by planting organic gardens even, in the Palace Garden and in the White House Garden. Can you believe that? Yes. And media report that in many places now there is a trend in vegetable gardening for reasons of being frugal, healthy, and also eco-friendly. Bravo, eh? All these put together show a remarkable indication of a veg trend, which is a trend toward health, sustainability, and love. I thank everyone who participate in this trend, now and in the future. Please do change.
Some of the benefits of a vegetarian diet: lowers blood pressure, lowers cholesterol levels, reduces type 2 diabetes, prevents stroke conditions, reverses atherosclerosis, reduces heart disease risk 50%, reduces heart surgery risk 80%, prevents many forms of cancer, stronger immune system, increases life expectancy up to 15 years, higher IQ, saves 70% of the total cost of $40 trillion for reducing global warming, uses 4.5 times less land to grow food, conserves up to 70% clean water, saves 80% of the cleared Amazonian rainforest from animal grazing. A solution for world hunger. Free up 3.4 billion hectares of land, free up 760 million tons of grain every year, half the world's grain supply, consumes 1/3 fossil fuels of those used for meat production, reduces pollution from untreated animal waste, maintains cleaner air, saves 4.5 tons of emissions per U.S. household per year, stop 80% of global warming. Plus more.
How serious is the issue of environmental refugees resulting from climate change?
It's too serious. Too serious. Although there is no way to assess completely for the moment. Already more than a decade ago, the United Nations conservatively estimated that there were 25 million climate change refugees decades ago, Charlie. 25 million climate change refugees, with the estimates now of 1 billion by 2050. Estimates. These are people forced from their homes and communities due to rising sea levels and a host of other natural disasters, so-called natural disasters, but in fact it's all man-made. Sea level rise, for example, threatens half the world's population living within 200 kilometers of a coastline. 17 million in Bangladesh have fled their homes already, mainly because of coastal erosion. In the United Kingdom as well, several coastal flooding disasters have already occurred, with more forecast by the nation's Department of Environment. This is due in part to the fact that over 26 million residents in the UK lived in coastal zones, with 40% of Britain's manufacturing industry also located on or near the coast. At least 18 islands have completely submerged around the world thus far, with more than 40 other island nations at risk from rising sea levels and planning to relocate. On inhabited tropical islands like Tonga, Tuvalu and Carteret, photos taken a decade ago compared to now show buildings and crops fields that have literally vanished. An evacuation is planned for all 100,000 residents of the island nation of Kiribati. In other cases, melting permafrost in Alaska is causing the buildings of entire communities to sink and collapse. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees, Antonio Guterres, warned that climate change also produces refugees indirectly, such as through conflicts due to water scarcity. As a result, more and more countries may have to help cope with the swell of displaced people, hoping they can, if we even can cope with it. In this dire situation, when all countries already have to cope with different problems, financial crisis, food crisis, and we have to cope with this sudden surge of immeasurable force of refugees. These situations will only worsen, not improve, until we stop the course. This means to halt the livestock production and meat consumption. I can never emphasize this enough. If humans switch to vegan diet, the earth will begin cooling immediately, and many of these dilemmas can be even reversed. So please, be veg and do good to save the planet and all the beings on it, including you and me. I hope your readers will really see the logic of all this. Thank you.
Do you think His Royal Highness Prince Charles can help inspire Great Britain back to its world leadership status through his sterling environmental efforts?
Oh, yeah. I'm grateful to His Royal Highness Prince Charles for his forthright courage and fearless eloquence in speaking out on the environment. How many leaders do this? You see? I really respect him. Salute him. He is also a man of action and ahead of his time. For example, he opened an organic produce market and is trying very hard to halt deforestation of the rainforest worldwide, which, by the way, 80% of deforested Amazon rainforest, for example, was for cattle grazing. Most of the remaining 20% is for growing soy, again, for cattle feed. Prince Charles is also trying to minimize his own carbon footprint, such as in his transportation. He also donated from his own fund $2.8 billion That's almost $3 billion for forest preservation. Who else would do this? See? He's kind of the one and only. In his memorable words, we can only be courageous and revolutionary in solving climate change. That's what he said. Courageous and revolutionary. His leadership is inspiring people, not just in Great Britain, but worldwide. We need more leaders like him, Charlie. Of course. Not for achieving status or recognition, but to save the world, to save the planet for us and our loved ones' generations. Thank you. I thank him immensely. I can never thank him enough.
The UK government has already implemented numerous innovative climate change policies and initiatives, with more to follow. Which of these do you think have been most effective and are most likely to inspire other nations around the world?
Oh, you asked me to to pick one of the best stars in the sky, or to choose like which roses are the best in the garden. I think all of them are good, yes. And I commend humbly the UK government for all its leadership in this area very, very much, and laud all its projects towards the country's low emissions future. You see, UK is also an island, even though it's a big island, but we should feel worry, yeah? But if I may, I would like to highlight the government's important work in sustainable food policy. As early as July 2008, a report commissioned by Prime Minister Gordon Brown to evaluate the UK's food policy acknowledged that a healthy, low-impact diet would contain less meat and fewer dairy products than we typically eat today. Ever since then till now, the same idea has been promoted in the UK government, such as by advisor Professor Tim Lang of the National Health Service and the Committee on Climate Change. The government is even helping farmers to go green by publishing a guide called The Code of Good Agricultural Practice. The UK also has leaders who have adopted or advocated a plant-based diet, such as the Secretary of State for Environment and Food Rural Affairs, Hilary Benn, Member of Parliament David Drew, and EU Parliament's Vice President Edward Macmillan. These are good signs in the right direction, and all countries could benefit from looking up at the UK's examples. I wish the UK would continue in this direction and do much more to facilitate vegan, vegetarian living for your people, just as you did to curb smoking. See, it worked, huh? Curb smoking, it worked, so it could do with meat. To really not miss the point of no return in climate change, the government needs to be bold and unprecedented. I hope the UK government rises to the occasion to lead the way to save the planet. I hope UK will be a leader of the world in this. In short, any UK policy for peace, constructive aid, and compassionate veg lifestyle, as well as green projects, are the best. And the UK government can propose and or implement many in this category. My heartfelt congratulations and gratitude. God bless the UK government and people for all this. Thank you.
With the emergence of the Asian economic powers, including China and India, and their increasing energy demands, what goals would you like to see such nations set in this regard?
I would imagine, of course, the heaven on earth. And to achieve this, it would be best for these energy-spending countries to develop in a wise and sustainable way. They all know that already. The question is to put it into practice, the knowledge that we have already accumulated. They should set goals to use sustainable energy and minimize their greenhouse gas emissions in their industries, because every effort is worth the benefit to their citizens' health, environment, and even the economy. This is the true meaning of prosperity. Unfortunately, as countries develop, their demand for meat also increases as they can more easily afford it. However, this is extremely counterproductive because demand for meat pushes up energy demands enormously. While worsening global warming, raising animals is responsible for 80% of all greenhouse gas emissions from the agriculture sector. Here are 3 reasons why these developing countries should also set no meat and instead propagate vegan lifestyle as their number 1 goal. First is to save energy for better purposes. Meat production is energy intensive and grossly energy inefficient. To produce 1 kilogram of beef consumes 169 megajoules of energy, or enough energy to drive an average European car for 250 kilometers. 1 6-ounce beefsteak costs 16 times as much fossil fuel energy as 1 vegan meal, containing 3 kinds of vegetables and rice. The UN IPCC's chair, Dr. Rajendra Pachauri, further points out that meat requires constant refrigerated transportation and storage, the growing and transportation of the animal's food, a lot of packaging, a lot of cooking at high temperatures for long periods, and a whole lot of animal waste products that also need to be processed and disposed of. Meat production is so costly and inefficient, so unsustainable, that it is bad business to produce meat. Second, besides energy, precious land, food, and water resources already scarce in these very countries are also wasted or degraded to unacceptable degrees. One study in India found that to produce 1 kilogram of beef requires 7 kilograms of grain for feed, instead of direct human consumption, while yielding less than 1/3 the amount of protein. The poor are bound to suffer from hunger. And overall, increased meat consumption has always been correlated with jumps in chronic diseases such as cancer, heart disease, and diabetes, whereas before that, these ills were virtually unknown. Finally, one reason why developing countries should say no to meat production and consumption is that by turning to the plant-based diet, they will gain invisible benefits as well. In India and China, it is already taught in their traditions, in the law of ahimsa, meaning non-violence, and the law of karma, which says, as you sow, so shall you reap. Meaning, by turning to the virtuous, compassionate diet of vegan alone, they would generate such a positive, constructive energy. This new loving power could even stop the effects of climate change in their vulnerable lands and open up people's innovative thoughts to solve all manner of economical, social, and technological problems. And every country, whether developed or developing, will flourish in ways beyond our imagination. I promise. It is true. Thank you, Charlie.
What type of world would you ideally envisage us living in 20 or 30 years from now if we can work together?
What kind of world would you imagine? Huh? If we all work together, huh, Charlie? Wouldn't that be a dream come true, Charlie? Yes. This is a dream that all of us want to materialize, Charlie. See? A wonderful future in a peaceful, abundant world where all can live and thrive in security and comfort. No more war, no more hunger, no more urgent threat of climate change. A lot of time for new and incredible inventions and activities. A lot of time for rebuilding a better, more benevolent, noble, worthy world for us and for the future generations. This planet is a wonderful creation. It's a beautiful piece of jewel. It's so rare in the whole cosmos. If we can preserve it, Charlie, we are truly miracle workers. And it's so simple to do it. Just be veg. If we all be veg, go green, and do good now, our dream world will materialize in just a short couple of years, Charlie. Simply put, if we all work together, be veg, go green, do good deed, we will have heaven on earth. So be it. Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful presence.
Not at all. Very interesting to speak to you. If you were speaking to developing countries, I suppose as an aim to see a country go vegan, it's a very high aspiration for any country to go for. And what do you see as a sort of lesser goal than sort of ultimate veganism for, say, a developing world?
Like what?
I don't know. I mean, what do you think is the first step, maybe, before they can become vegans or vegetarians? I mean, it's a very big step for the world.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you see a sort of a stepping stone?
I understand. I wish I could offer another solution, Charlie. But all the scientific, medical, financial, economic evidence pointed toward this direction, that we have to be vegan and fast in order to save our planet, first of all, before we do anything else. I wish I could say something else more. I wish then I would be more popular, Charlie. Do this, do that, no problem, I promise. I wish I could have another easier solution, but we don't have time, Charlie. We are running out of favor with the climate. Yes? We are running out of favor with heavens. We have to redirect our route, return it. Your farm is where?
My girlfriend's farm is in Dorset.
In Dorset. Suppose you're running out of time to see your girlfriend. It's her birthday or whatever, that important day or anniversary of your first meeting together. And it's very important. You have to be there or else. And you are trying to go to Dorset, but then you realize you're mistaken. You go the other opposite direction. So what to do now? Turn around, as quick as possible. As simple as that. You have no other choice, Charlie. Just to turn around. I wish I could find another solution, but all the evidence doesn't favor any other solution except vegan diet. And then we can have other solutions when we have more time, Charlie. We have only a few years now. And we don't know what comes yet even. Now it's a swine flu, but what else? I cannot tell you. I don't want to know. Okay. I don't have any other solution, yes? Be green is just a by the way, okay? Be veg is the 90% solution. And be green, of course we have to be green. It's better to have a less polluted planet, of course. But CO2 is not the main problem. It's not our main problem. Methane is. Nitrous oxide is. These all come from animals' products. And these are the ones that heat up the planet and fast. 100 times or 60, 100 times more than CO2. So what do you suggest yourself? After all I have told you about all the evidence and all the scientific findings and all the, information, what would you suggest that I say? To please people?
No.
Yes, I mean, even if I want to please people, I can't say otherwise. Charlie, I'm not putting myself in a favorable position as a spiritual teacher as well as a world citizen by telling people to be vegan. If I were to be no vegan or no vegetarian, I would have had more students, yes? And I would be more favorable with governments, the meat industry. The meat industry is one of the most powerful industry in the whole world. I am going against the trend, Charlie, but I can't say otherwise because I want to save my planet. No matter what, I have to tell the truth, Charlie, okay?
Yeah. Do you think targeting sort of big supermarkets in the UK is a good thing to do on this kind of thing?
Like what would you think we should do?
Well, like Tesco's and, I mean, sort of factory farming and that kind of thing, particularly with livestock, is obviously very, very damaging. I mean, are free-range hens better for you, or you have to go all the way to vegan?
Okay, free-range. You mean animals run around on the field? Okay, but they still produce methane, Charlie, yes? Yeah. It is the methane that is the trouble also. Of course, in the free range, the animals have more freedom, and it's better for them. And I would like that too. But, we raise and slaughter billions of animals per year. We can't stop the climate change with all this methane hitting our planet and in turn hitting the Arctic. Yes? Hitting the South and North Pole and in turn also hitting the permafrost. So all the methane from the animals hit the ice melt and the permafrost exposed and melt as well. So all this methane come out together with the animals' methane. We can't be safe, Charlie. Mm-hmm. We are heated everywhere. If we still continue with animals raising practice, one animal farm produces more waste and pollution than the whole city of Houston, Texas. Industry and humans all together, for example, that is the fourth largest city in the United States. Imagine how many animal farms we have, not just one. You see, it's just the chain effect of it. You see, animal farms heat the ice melt, and the sun reflect more heat in the water. And it heat further, melt further ice, and heat further the planet, and the permafrost produce more methane, heat more. Continue like this, we cannot stop. I wish we could do something else, Charlie. I wish there's a magical wand I could wave it and say, oh, blah, we're done, no problem. No, we have to be responsible for our action. Everything has to come from us. There's no miracle here. Even God wants to save the planet. We have to help him. We are God. All of us. Because the Bible says we have the kingdom within and we are the children of God. So it's about time, even if it's not for the planet, it's about high time that we behave like children of God. Like, benevolent, noble, protective of all the weak and, the meek. We're not doing what we should do as a children of God. How? If we're harassing the weak and the defenseless animals, we cannot call that the children of God's behavior, no matter what excuses. In the Bible, it says, I made all the animals to befriend you and to help you. How could we eat our friends, kill our helpers, and call us children of God? Excuse me. I'm sorry if I offend anybody out there. The truth is unalterable. But you have really good question. Please continue if you want.
No, that's great. No, it's very all-encompassing. Been great.
Okay, love. As I told you already, I wish I could be more diplomatic.
No. I don't think it's not a subject to be diplomatic about.
Yes.
Doesn't help.
I am already very diplomatic, I'm telling you. Yes. I chose word and, I truly have tried to be less blunt. But I hope I deliver the message clear and strong enough.
It's refreshing to hear strong speaking like that.
Thank you. Thank you, Charlie. And it has been very nice to be in your presence. And to know that your girlfriend is a farmer is very, very...
And just crops, not livestock, just crops.
I know. Yeah, that's why. It's a very, very pleasant thing to know. And I think your relationship will be fine because you are farmers, half of it. So you can go back to your farm. And be vegan. Tell your girlfriend. Adopt vegan practice. Vegan farm, yes. You will see how much she earned more than before. Many of the Vietnamese farmers that we interview also on the Supreme Master television, which I also watched, saying that because some of their land don't have water, some of the area in Vietnam has very little water, little rain, and they plant those organic farming produce that is suitable for that land. And they say the benefit is multifold more than conventional and more than others. Yes? Okay. That is just to tempt her, no?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, she grows a lot of vegetables actually. So yeah.
We have all kind of information about organic farming on our television website exclusively for organic farming method, for different lands and different practices that we collect from all over the world and still collecting to help people who want to be organic farmers. In fact, it costs less money, less water, less land, and more profit. What else can a farmer want, huh?
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you. And it's been my honor. Thanks for helping with this, movement to save our world. Because it's the only world we have, Charlie. We can't buy it anywhere else. We cannot buy it. And we would, love our children to be able to continue to enjoy it. It's a pity to waste this planet, don't you think? Huh? All right, thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Love and hug to your girlfriend, yes. And good luck to your career. And good luck to your relationship.
Thank you. Thank you. And best wishes
God bless
to you.
God bless you. God bless UK.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.